Okay, so we're on insight number 101, the last one on chapter 4. If you want to understand what sex and sexual attraction are, then you should reach for the most authentic, unbiased, and genuine source of knowledge or information. So we're talking about insight 163. I'm referring to insight 163. That's what I want you to look at. It should occur to you that the manipulator's visual presentations on sex are not genuine sources. It is generally very tainted. Therefore, do not rely on what they present to you, because you can get easily confused and baffled. It is good for you to become familiar with the knowledge which clarifies that a woman's genital organ is the same as a man's, which is insight 52 and 53. Do not surrender your thinking ability. Keep sharp and alert. Take the knowledge that you are gaining here and weigh it against your own clear thoughts and your own emotional and sexual feelings. Think deeply on your own to see whether the statements said here are true or not. Look online as well. Look to ever improving your understanding and perspective, because the subtler ideas can only be understood by those who keep a clear mind and who are also able to think in various perspectives. Scientific information about the sexes is beneficial to look into. However, still do not surrender your thinking to scientists either. Many of the scientific world deal in theories, and they periodically need to be updated. There are theories and counter-theories. So yeah, I'm inviting you to go out and get information, which I have in the book, but also look online. Look online see what I'm saying, if what I'm saying in the book is true as far as the anatomy of the male and the female. I remember once mentioning to somebody, I was on Speaker's Corner, and I was mentioning to somebody about how the male and genital organ is the same. He said, no, this is not true, I said, look it up, I mentioned to him about the male and female both have a vagina, and he's like, no. I was talking about, the baby in the womb situation, and I said, look, all you have to do is look online and see if what I'm saying is true or not. Okay. Insight 102. This is chapter 5. It's called Alert, Liberated. Alert meaning aware, conscious, very aware in the present now moment. Okay, so alert, liberated mind, the final state. It is not enough, this is Insight 102, it is not enough to be mentally on guard against all information that tries to influence your views on life. Again, it is not enough to be mentally on guard against all information that tries to influence your views on life. You must first be firmly established in the truthful views on life. Yeah, so it's not enough to say, take the example of a village or a country, a group of people trying to survive a war. They're being warred, there's a war against them, right? It's not enough for them to be on guard, watching for any enemies trying to get into the castle, right? They also have to be well maintained from within. They have to have supplies. I'll give you a mind example that will be very, very easy to understand. Very exceptional and good example. So let's say there's a person and he doesn't want any negative influences in his life. So let's say he is totally guarded against anything negative. Just simply disallows any negative people, persons, situations to get at him. But that's not enough to keep this man well established. He could be bored out of his mind. And there are a lot of people who are bored out of their mind. So what he needs also is to know how to have a healthy mind, healthy body, and to enjoy life, and to be in a positive state, without any outside influences that are negative, totally guarded. He himself has to be also in a very positive frame of mind and healthy body, and well maintained. So there's two situations going. Insight 103. So we're telling you now here what the truthful views of life are. So, Insight 103, it says, become established in truth, which is correct thoughts and or viewpoints. Therefore, when influential ideas come, they cannot automatically and easily establish their reality as being valid in your mind. So long as the individual is firmly established in and focused on their correct views of life, the individual will not be swerved. It is essential that the viewpoints not be purposefully limited, because the person could be lying to him or herself, and this would not be an honest introspection into life. All right. So, what I mean by another explanation, I say, what I mean by correct or true. Is anything correct or true? Anything and all things. Why any truth? Because any truth is connected to all truths. They relate to each other. So all it takes is for one person to learn a truth, investigate and learn a truth, look at this truth from various perspectives and learn it. And then from there, he can branch out. This truth will be related to some other truths, and he will learn other truths based on this truth. He will learn other truths. And if he continues like this, he will learn about the world around him and himself in totality, gradually going forward from one truth to the other, learning. As he's learning about this stuff and seeing the reality of these truths, he is grounding himself on those truths. He is seeing that he can rely on these truths and live by the truths that he has learned. All right, so here I'm going to give you an example. There are two examples under there, but I'm going to give you one of them. Example J2. This is a really fantastic example, not only because of the information here for this book, but also for the next book, which is the next book coming, having to do with emotional fulfillment. A lot of people are unfamiliar with this thing which I'm going to speak of, so I want you to listen to it. It's really, really helpful for you for this book and also for emotional fulfillment. Okay, here it goes. Example J2. You decide to be a beautiful person. Now, this is talking about how truths relate to other truths and how you can live by those truths. Let us say that you decide to be a beautiful person. So you look into the mirror. When I point in the book, it is italicized. I'm going to point to make the point that is italicized. And when I point, it means that this is, these are truths or truths that lead to other truths. And also the methods by which the truths are discovered. Okay, they're all going to be pointed out. Let us say that you decide to be a beautiful person. You like to be a beautiful person. You want to be beautiful, So you look that's how you discover that you're beautiful. You look into the mirror and you analyze yourself. And you see that you might need some work done on yourself. You think that you would like a new hairstyle. I'm just giving you one example. But then you think again and say, well, even though the hairstyle will be good, hair is dead material anyway. Hair is dead material anyway. That's the truth. You can go to the hairstylist or work on your hair, but your facial skin needs to look more beautiful. Your facial skin needs to look more beautiful. This is you come upon this conclusion. So you think if I exercised, then my skin will look more beautiful. My muscles and my skin will look better. But with exercise, you know you have to eat good too. Plus the good food like fruits and vegetables and the right amount of protein, from vegetable sources you can get them, will make your skin look really healthy. Will make your skin really healthy. So now you have included exercise and correct eating. Also, you notice that your entire body needs to be healthy. Not just this, but your entire body, you notice. How do you make the connection between this and the entire body? It's connected. This is connected to this. It's, like for example, you have an ache in your toe. You go, this hurts. So what does the toe have got to do with you making an expression on your face? That's all related. You have an infection somewhere in your body on your finger, it might spread to the other parts. They're all related. So anyway. So now you have included exercise and correct eating. Also, you notice that your entire body needs to be healthy. That is more beautiful than just facial beauty alone. Through exercise and proper nutrition, you notice you look better, your health is getting better, and you are stronger. You notice that you are more easily able to do your work at your job. Through a day of stress, you notice that the expression on your face and the feelings... Through a day of stress, you notice that the expression on your face and the feelings inside you look miserable. So the expression on your face and the feelings inside you, there's something internal going on, you notice. Makes you look miserable, not very pretty. You realize that you also need to take care of stressful situations in order to be beautiful, healthy, and strong. Also, since you noticed that your internal feelings and thoughts affected your outside gestures and overall feelings, you want to feel beautiful inside as well as out. So you decide to work on your inner beauty. For you realize that a beautiful person outside with an ugly inside looks very ugly. Small example of that is, what is, a beautiful inside I wanted to mention. Well, beautiful inside. Beautiful outside, beautiful inside. Beautiful outside, we relate it to being healthy, right? Outside means healthy. Beautiful inside, also healthy. Beautiful inside. Beautiful inside means to be inside, having qualities, ways of thinking, behaviors, thoughts, feelings, everything that is internal, the way of thinking and feeling, that is harmonious, healthy, harmonious, positive. This is equated with beauty. What is like when you spend time with a friend, right? Now, if it's a good friend and you genuinely love interacting with him or her, the time you spend with them is beautiful, right? Because of their personality. their personality is just, you enjoy their beautiful personality, you know. Right, see? So their personality is agreeable. It's got numerous traits of positivity, you know, in so many ways. Name any positive trait. They're genuine, honest, to a degree. These are all degrees, you know. We don't know how deeply they are honest, and all the other positive qualities until they're tested actually in actual life. So we're going to go with degrees. So they're honest to a degree. They're playful to a degree. They listen to a degree. They like to have fun with you in a degree. They respect you to a degree. And so all these qualities and much more makes spending time with them enjoyable, beautiful. Okay, I'm going to give you the other example as well. Now, the other example is about the sun and the earth. Circle each other. It's example K2. Now, in the old times, this is about scientific information. They used to think that, some people used to think that the sun circled the earth. Modern age, you know, much later, people realized, no, the earth is circling the sun. Of course, with modern scientists who've looked into this matter, they realize actually it's both. Both the sun is circling the earth and the earth is circling the sun. They both have an impact on each other, on their orbits. They both have an impact on each other's orbits. Neither is stationary. This is an example of how you need to be open-minded and look at different perspectives and to improve upon your understanding of reality, outside or inside reality. You know? Okay. Okay, we're on Insight 104. Many sexually fixated people have missed out on a number of wonderful natural encounters with people whom they find mentally, emotionally, and sexually attractive. Fixated people might be at home fantasizing in strip bars or jeopardizing their existing relationships by overtly talking about sex. They waste their time while they could have been meeting beautiful, sweet, intelligent, beautiful people in places where such people generally congregate, in areas of their hobbies and interests. If fixated people switch to a natural way of thinking about the sexes, which finds little difference between the sexes, this would relax their fixation, enabling them to broaden their possibility of meeting, better knowing, and relating to people. So essentially what's happening is that there's a lot of people, and their way of dealing with their sexual fixation varies. But among them, there are other people who go to strip bars. Among them, there are people who spend a lot of time at home just sexually fantasizing, whether they watch various sexual presentations or not. Either way or not, they fantasize, and many self-pleasure themselves. And so there's this wasted time. They wasted a lot of time. They wasted a lot of time on this stuff. And so what they're missing out on is to actually meet people and to relate, to interact, to actually meet males or females, and to actually interact, to learn about relationships, and to progress in life. The power of the fantasy is too great for them, and it's crippled their social life. So by understanding that the sexes are not that different and how close they are, it minimizes the contrast that they have about the sexes, and so therefore they're more calm about it, more relaxed. Therefore they're able to relate to the male and the female much more easily. to get to know them, and to relate to people more easily. All right, insight 105. Experiential means by experience. Honest and alert observation, meaning observation that you're very aware, mentally alert, very aware. So experiential, honest and alert observation leads to better understanding. You can learn from other people's experiences and mistakes. This is very similar to what I said about the insight about you need to look at a person anew, afresh, being mentally aware. So here, I'm saying when you're interacting with a person experientially, by experience, when you're honest and you're mentally alert to what is really happening, you can able to understand the situation better through your honest observations, you know. Okay, so, and this is the way you can progress in your understanding of man, woman, relationships. I give you an example. I once went out on a date with a lady, and this lady had a very lavish hairstyle, very curly whirly. Anyway, so it was very nicely done. She must have taken a long time doing it. Anyway, so at one point we were in the date we're in sort of an embrace. We're just touching each other facially, bodily facially, you know, and nothing too serious, just interacting with each other. And then in this situation, I'm very aware, and so I'm touching her hair and being very aware of my interaction here with her. And at one point, I pull her hair back to observe her honestly as possible. You know, and I'm doing this, and I realized it was a realization, not a theoretical thing. It's easy to say, oh, a female is a person, but to realize it is something different, to make it real to you, you know, in a very, very real way, to taste it, to experience it. So this is what I experienced. While I'm messing with her hair, I pulled her hair back, all this lavish hairstyle. I got rid of it eventually. It's just like, and then I got to see her face, and while I'm holding her head, I realized her head, her face, this person is just like me, you know, just she is me. She's like meaning a person. And so it's hard to describe it. That's why it's a very important thing to experience it firsthand. And I understood, and I felt that she is me. I felt that she is me. Not personality-wise, you know. I'm not being mystical here. I'm saying that this is a person just like me, you know. Real, alive person, you know. And why would I want? So the thought of my what's it called? I didn't want her. Why would I want her? I said to myself. Why would I want her? Because I have myself already, you know. So essentially, originally she may have been projecting with her hairstyle and whatever else that she's something other than, something different, something unusually magnificent or something. But when you peel and take away all this, unveil her and see it for what she really is, you realize that she is just as you are, a human being, and you lose your sense of wanting it like you did before, because you have yourself. Why would you need her? I'll read the part here. Within her arms, while looking at her face, I could see the melting away of many untruths, which veiled her true self. Untruths that are very apparent in everyday interactions between males and females. They are beings just like us. However, what I am saying is that I would see it much more clearly there within her arms. There is no mystery. So in the book I mentioned how when we look at females, we usually look at females as females first and second as human. You know, that fact is outstanding in our minds. Oh, this is a female, you know. So there in her arms I was quite aware of her humanness as she being just like me. Why would I want me? I have me already. Insight 106. Many times women and men beautify themselves without trying to be seductive. People that are used to viewing others sexually, upon seeing a beautiful person, might become sexually excited because of their own way of thinking. People that are not greatly under the influence of sexual thoughts more often view others who have beautified themselves as simply beautiful. It is possible for them to also recognize people as sexually attractive without getting aroused. Insight 107. Remind yourself of normalcy of breasts and the normalcy of other organs, so that you do not see them as rare, and thereby you do not want to constantly engage with them or fantasize about them. Use the world around you as a study method. I remember seeing, this is under example L2 in the explanation, normal thoughts on Aboriginal breasts. You'll see some Aboriginal people, native people from around the world, in various countries. Some of them do not wear any clothing on the upper part of their body, and so they're bare-breasted. And while doing the various activities, they're not sexually excited. They're doing the washing, the cooking, cleaning, inside, outside, doing work, doing all kinds of stuff. They're not sexually excited. And when you see them that way, it also allows you to see them that way also, to a degree. So being naked doesn't have to lead to sexualness automatically. You know, in short, you start to see them as humans. No big mystery involved in that. Also remind yourself of the normalcy of the clitoris and the penis. See them as both the same, for in truth they are the same. One has developed itself outside the body to become the penis, and the other has developed itself within the interior of the body to become the clitoris. Insight 108. Usually, after sexual satisfaction, your mind is released from desire momentarily and returns to its sober state. While in the sober state, ask yourself, is this, meaning is the sexual act, what you really wanted? Was the circumstances what you really wanted? I mean, were the circumstances what you really wanted? At times you might respond yes, and at other times you might say no. Was it the truest way you could express yourself? So, many times people fall into sexual pleasure, including self-pleasure. Meaning, by this I mean, for so many people, this sexual self-pleasuring or sexual act of any sort, or engaging in any kind of sexual activity, or going after sex, or anything related to it, takes a lot of takes a lot of time, takes a lot of people's time, and so their hobbies, so many things of their lives have been neglected because they're focused on this stuff. They're going after this, and so that's what I'm asking. I'm saying, when you're sober, right after the sexual satisfaction, ask yourself, is this what you really wanted, or was there something else you wanted? You know, you wanted to do something else, maybe? Are all the circumstances involving the sexual interaction just exactly what you wanted? Was the setting right? Was the place right? Was this your mood right? Your mental state right? Your emotional state right? What was missing, if anything? Did you really wanted to have this? A small example of that is that, let's say you're hungry and you want to go somewhere to eat, and you make a decision. You want to go, let's say, to that restaurant, but you go, no, I want to eat this kind of food. That restaurant has it, but I don't like the type of people that restaurant has in it, so I don't go there and eat. I want to eat that kind of sandwich, and I want to go here, but to have it this restaurant is good, but the restaurant is too far away. See, so even for the simplest thing of you want to eat, you make sure that everything is right, so that you can really sit down and really enjoy your food. You know, so many things involved. And the place that you're sitting and eating, the atmosphere, right, and the food itself, and the time, all these things you set. In sexual activity, self-pleasuring or going after sex, usually when we're pressured to do so, we miss so many things, elements of our that is to our liking, even our mindset, emotional set, so many things, just to have that overwhelming pleasure that is bugging the hell out of us, you know. So it's good for you to notice what elements we're actually missing, that we went ahead with the sexual pleasure anyway, self-pleasuring or meeting somebody, whatever it is, but what elements were missing, what didn't feel right. Acknowledge that, you know. I didn't like having, for example, I didn't really want to have sex now, or self-pleasure now. I wanted to do something else, you know, watch a television show or what kind of program, whatever it is you're doing. Anyway. Insight 109. The male fluid, that is when one self-pleasures or when it's in sexual activity, the ejaculation of the fluid. The male fluid contains sperm, nutritious fluid for the sperm, and white blood cells. This might be the proper explanation why males feel weakness and hunger after completion of the sexual act. So, it takes a lot of amount of energy to be sexual and to complete the sexual act. And not only is sperm released, but also nutrition, vital nutrition from the body is released also. And so you feel weakened because you had nutrition in your body, and this vital nutrition is gone, as well as white blood cells, which are defenders of the body. They help with the immune system. They fight off all kinds of infections and any kind of. They're the defenders of the body. They fight to get any intruders out of your body, you know. And so So what happens is that when a person ejaculates and the white blood cells go, the person feels weak also because his defense system is lowered. Now, compared to blood, the amount of blood in the body is a lot. It's a lot of blood. Now, the white blood cells is only, compared to the blood, is very, very small amount, extremely small amount of white blood cells that are responsible for defending the entire body. Compared to the blood, it's just very small amount, maybe this much, I don't know, very small amount. And so when even a little bit of it goes, it makes a big impact on the person's health. That's why it's important to eat and rest, to recuperate, go back to normal. So if people have self-pleasure a lot, or if they do get into the sexual act a lot, and they do not recuperate, they do not rest and eat, they're depleting their body continuously of vital nutrition. Eventually it's going to set into depression, because it's like being in a desert and you're starving yourself, you know. You're starving yourself. You're going to get delusional. You're going to get depressed because you have no motivation. You have no... Why? Because motivation a lot depends on the food that you eat. So you have the energy to be able to do what you want to do. So, so eat, rest. Insight 110. Continuous sexual distraction leads to a consciousness that is distracted from the self. Not expressing and not being your true self leads to dissatisfaction. This displeasure might lead you temporarily to seek quick satisfaction in sexual pleasure, since the pleasure that comes from the expression of your true self seems very far from being achieved anytime soon. So basically, when a person is distracted sexually, when they're focused, they have intense focus on sex, and this has been going on for some time, you know. They feel that they're against themselves. They don't feel like themselves, you know. They feel like to head back and reach to get to their true self again, to their true natural way of being themselves. They see this road as a very long road, far distant road. So because of this, they become disheartened. They become depressed. They lose motivation, because they see it as a long process to get to their true self, of being who they really are. And so because of this, they don't feel good. You know, being yourself, you feel good if you're yourself, you know. You feel great, you know, you're yourself. And there's a pleasure with that. But when you're not being yourself, there's displeasure, you know, there's a dis-ease, there's a depression, there's not being yourself is, you know, very, very, a very negative experience. And so, and because you're in a state of displeasure, and you see it far distant time-wise, for you to be yourself and experience pleasure naturally, you might give in to behaving sexually just to experience some pleasure in your life, here and now. See, you get it? Good. So you need to be conscious of this and be aware when you're doing this, why you're doing this. You know, sometimes you're getting involved in self-pleasure or whatever else pleasure-wise, because you feel so far away from achieving being yourself, and that's okay. Just be aware of it. Okay, we're on Insight 110. Continuous sexual distraction leads to a consciousness that is distracted from the self, from yourself. Not expressing and not being your true self leads to dissatisfaction. This displeasure might lead you temporarily to seek quick satisfaction in sexual pleasure, since the pleasure that comes from the expression of your true self seems very far from being achieved anytime soon. So, if you're involved in sexual self-pleasure or just going after sex a lot, you're thinking about sex a lot, and it's bugging the hell out of you. It's taking, your consciousness, is robbing you of your normal state of being. It's allowing your consciousness to be, it's grabbing onto your consciousness and focusing on it. And it's so much that it takes you away from the normal activities that you would do. Your consciousness normally would be playing and doing this and doing that, all kinds of stuff, and this would allow you to express yourself and be yourself. But because this has been gripping your mind for such a long time, quite strongly, it has been taking you away from you being you. You being you, when you are you, and you get to express yourself, you quite naturally feel happy and joyous. Now, you have been robbed of your happiness, your normal sense of happiness, because you're focused on this sexual garbage, sexual misinformation, manipulation, and all this stuff. Okay, so now you're in a state of misery because you do not only do you do not feel yourself, you do not feel happy, joyous. You're not yourself. You're not being yourself. You're focused on this. So, and it takes a long time. You seem far, far away from being yourself to achieve coming back to being yourself. And so you're left in a state of displeasure, not happiness. You're just feeling miserable. And just so you could feel a little pleasure in life, you may go into self-pleasure again just to feel happiness, some sort of pleasure, some sort of happiness. So you need to recognize sometimes you do that. You get into self-pleasure for that, because getting back to your true self might seem like a far, far off thing. You might have been stuck in this for years and years, so there you go. So you go for instant pleasure because getting back to your true self seems like such a far task.